spent with thee. Light of the world, you stepped out in the darkness. You opened my eyes, you let me see. Oh, a beauty that made my heart adore thee. Oh, I long for a life spent with thee. Here I am to sing. Oh, and I'll never to see my sins upon the cross. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, so here I am to here I am to say that you're my God. Oh, in a little tent I was born. Ooh. In a little tent, oh, it's like a river I've been running. Since it's been a long time coming, but I know, no, no, no. Light of the world, you stepped out into darkness. You opened my eyes, you let me see. The beauty that made, oh, my heart adore thee. Oh, I long for a life spent with thee.
Good evening. Hello, everyone. If we would have everyone go ahead and take their seats. Good afternoon and welcome to today's Town Hall, with our very own State Representative Afton Bain, who is running for the 7th Congressional District, and will be joining us Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Before we get started, I just want to go over a few housekeeping rules to make sure we are being respectful of the space. There is no food in the sanctuary. Exit signs are to your left and to your right behind you. If there's a case of emergency, you will exit out those doors. Health and Wellness Ministry, where are you? Raise your hands. You see Health and Wellness raising their hands. Those are the nurses that will help you in case there is an emergency and you need medical assistance. I want to take a moment to thank everyone who made this possible today. First, if we could give a huge round of applause for Watson Grove Church for opening their doors to us. Pastor Faison, First Lady Maya Faison, thank you for your hospitality and your continued commitment to this community and social justice. A special shout out to the church staff, Mitzi, and the pastoral team. You guys have been phenomenal partners with us in this process, trying to organize this event and execute. I also would like to recognize Senator Charlene Oliver and her hard work. Love Noise for providing us with entertainment. Creative Souls for providing us with all of our printing. All of our elected officials who are here, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. We see you. And a big thank you to the security team for making sure that we are all safe in this place. Our volunteers who are a huge help during this process. And last but not least, we would like to thank the voters. Because of you, this is possible. Because of you, we are going to send Afton to Congress. One last thank you. I want to give a shout out to National Hookup of Black Women for providing voter registration for us today to make sure that we register every voter. If you are not registered to vote and in this space, you can step outside the sanctuary. There's a table waiting for you so you can become an active part of this civic process. Thank you for being here and being a part of this amazing town hall, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the campaign trail.
How's everybody doing? Yeah? We feeling good? All right, all right. So I'm Keedron Turner, president of Davidson County Young Democrats here in Asheville. Yeah, there we go. Come on, come on. Thought we were in church. Let's go. Right? So speaking of church, so if you'll bear with me for a little bit, I want to talk a little bit about where we're at today in a church in Congressional District 7. See, I find it uniquely Southern that we're here talking about change in a church, because as you know, the South, the Bible Belt that we know of today, that we stand in today, was built on movements and gatherings that took place in the church. And to me, the church is a powerful symbol of the gospel, right? The truth of the world that we're in today and what we as a people can make of. So with that said, if we're in church, let's talk about the gospel. Let's talk about the gospel of Trump's America, right? And what it's doing to Nashville and Congressional District 7. The gospel, the truth, is that the federal government is ruining our communities. The truth is that Trump's administration has made 1 year, it's surprising it's been 1 year. 1 year feel like a decade, and quite honestly, hell, right? We've seen hundreds of our neighbors taken away in the middle of the night without any notice, without any due process. We've seen our grocery bills skyrocket due to the ego of one strange man in the White House, right? We've seen our local governments and nonprofits struggle with the loss of federal funding. Our academic institutions crumble at the fear of teaching what needs to be taught. We've sacrificed our own groceries for the sake of thousands of Tennesseans who no longer have access to food. That's the gospel of Trump's America. But there's another part that you might not know about. The gospel, the truth, the goodwill is that we are young, we're tired, we're fed up of Trump's America, and we're ready to do something about it, right? Right, come on. Young, and fed-up leaders in the past found ways to energize their movements in town halls just like this. And now we have a new wave of young leaders doing the exact same thing. Why? It's because the progress, the change, the hope that those leaders fought for decades ago is under attack right now. And now we have young leaders like Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. We have young leaders like Democratic nominee Afton Bain, right? We have these young leaders fighting for that change to bring it back into the conversation. So the good news is that young Democrats are fed up and tired and ready to make some change, but we can't do it alone. We all know that. If you think your only contribution to the fight for change is showing up to this town hall and sitting in those pews, I will be the first and probably not the last one to tell you today that we need you to do more. We need you to door knock. We need you to phone bank. We need you to donate. We need you to talk to that neighbor that you don't want to talk to, because that's how important this moment is. Tennessee, we have one shot this year at getting it right. It's going to take all of us, both here in the church and those listening in, to make change for Tennessee and bring it back to where it needs to be. So, with that said, I do have one question for y'all. Are y'all ready to get to work? Let me say it one more time. Are y'all ready to get to work? It's a church. Let's go. Then let's get to work. Thank y'all.
In my house, we go to the grocery store on Saturdays, since Sundays are reserved for praising the Lord and cleaning. Monday through Friday, Mama and Daddy clock in, and we at school trade pencil and pens for grades. So there is only one day that remains to fill up our cabinets and pantry's empty spaces. We, the children, fill the shopping cart with wishes. Already in our minds, pictures of our mother's best dishes. So we ask for baked chicken, mashed potatoes with gravy on the side, our favorite fruits to add to our school lunch. We begin to bargain the amount of vegetables so she don't think she can add too much, but in the end, she adds none. Because although freedom is choice, the price on the shelves say we have no freedom to choose. And having enough for tomorrow outweighs today's healthiest food. So Mama surrenders to circumstance and provides us with something. It's sweet, hoping that at least for today, it can dull hunger's bitter aftertaste. Hunger is the echo shot from the barrel of the gun, aimed at the tongues that ask questions, where appetite becomes a bargaining chip and starvation a tactic of war. It is always held in the hands of the well-fed, who feel it better to give our children molasses over bread, indoctrination over accessible higher education, letting hate spread across our country like gunfire. Who decides who deserves medicine and who is left to wait? Why do we let those who have never sat at our table decide what gets to grace our family's plates? How much more will they take? As long as it tips the scales in their favor, those in charge will continue to weigh currency against the individual, access to healthcare versus the opinionated political, and call it balance. Swinging the pendulum so we hang beneath its shadow, hungry, unseen, and afraid. However, they have severely underestimated the weight of our voices. The voices they've continuously attempted to silence have now gathered here like tidal waves, ready to offset the storm that their greed thought it could unleash, for we will sow tomorrow with all they tried to strip away, feeding our children truth, every word a promise, every shout a current, and every chorus carrying a swell of revolution. And when the ground trembles beneath the wave, the hands that held us down will learn what happens when the ground finally awakens.
Give it up for Jaden Marshall. That young child is talented. Do y'all hear me? Now we will have Miss Penny give her testimony. Miss Penny is a mother and a impacted SNAP recipient.
Good afternoon. My name is Penny Hewlin, and I live right here in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm the mother of 3 adult children, Benji, Morgan, and Max. In 2020, my oldest son, Benji, was taken from us by gun violence. That loss changed my life forever. It is also when I became involved with Moms Demand Action, where I now serve as a survivor lead, advocating for safer communities and for families who have faced tragedy like mine. But today I'm here to talk about something different, something that's impacting my family right now, the suspension of SNAP benefits this November. For the past 7 years, my youngest son, Max, has received SNAP benefits. Max was born with Down syndrome and a rare lung disease, and those benefits have been a lifeline for him. They've helped us afford a special milk that he depends on for his nutrition and health. Without it, we're left scrambling, wondering how to fill the gap and keep him safe. You can imagine my dismay and shock when I received a call from the Tennessee Department of Human Services on October the 28th, informing me that our benefits would be stopping. There was no warning, no gradual phase out, just a phone call that left me wondering what we were going to do next. I've always been a hard worker. I'm currently the only one working in my family, and I work for a nonprofit organization that provides housing for individuals with disabilities and people living on a fixed income. The majority of those individuals rely on SNAP benefits and other subsidies to live full, independent, and dignified lives. This sudden cut isn't just devastating for my family, it's devastating for the people that I serve every single day. When I was a single mother raising Benji, I also relied on SNAP. Without that help, I don't know how I would have kept food on the table. It gave me a chance to build a stable life. And now, years later, I find myself depending on that same support again. Not because I haven't worked hard enough, but because sometimes life gives us challenges that no one can prepare for. My husband is a union millwright with the local 1554, and right now, he is unemployed for 4 weeks. This comes at a time when Tennessee's unemployment rate is about 3.6%, which may sound low, but for working families like mine, even a few weeks without income can be devastating. And it's made even worse by the Republican-led federal government shutdown, which has caused families like mine to once again have the rug pulled out from underneath them. It makes me frustrated, it makes me angry, and sad to be going through this again, especially after years of hospital visits for Max. And he has a weakened immune system that it makes him especially vulnerable. As a mother, watching your child struggle, then losing the safety nets meant to protect him is almost unbearable. I spent years advocating, knocking doors, writing postcards, calling representatives, and visiting the Tennessee State Capitol to meet with our legislators. I've stood up for immigrants, for gun violence survivors, and for families like mine. I've also fought tirelessly with insurance and pharmaceutical companies to ensure that my son gets the care that he needs. As a result, I have to say I'm deeply disappointed that while our governor, Bill Lee, has allocated funds to food banks, he refuses to use available state funds to continue SNAP benefits directly for families who need them the most. So I stand here today not just as a mother or a survivor, but as a reminder that policies are personal. SNAP is not a handout, it's a hand up. It's how we make sure children like Max, families like mine, and communities like ours can survive and thrive. If you're watching this and you're wondering what you can do, get involved. Call your representatives, support campaigns that stand for families and working people, or donate to your local food bank. Because together, we can make sure that no family has to go hungry while waiting for leadership to do what's right.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, just like a river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know, no, change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard living, and I'm afraid to die. Oh, I don't know what's out there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know, no, change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. And I go to my brother. I said, brother, help me please. But instead of picking me up, oh no, he winds up knocking me right back down on my knees. Oh, said there's times when I felt I wouldn't last for long. Now I have enough strength, oh, to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know, no, change gon' come. Yes, indeed.
All right. We here for a good time, not a long time. I am State Senator Charlene Oliver. It is my pleasure. Thank you. It is my pleasure to have you here today to experience this monumental occasion for Tennessee. We've got Representative Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett coming to Tennessee in the building. But I want to read a statement because I want to make sure everyone knows that, unfortunately, because we are in a shutdown, we are in a government shutdown. Things are uncertain right now, and things happen at the last minute because we are dealing with very important people like members of Congress. So unfortunately, Representative Jasmine Crockett couldn't be here in person with us like she fully intended to do, but she will be here. She will be streaming in, so we are moving forward because she understands the importance of this race. She understands She understands what it takes for a young woman to run for office like Afton Bain. She also understands the stakes in this race right now in Tennessee and why we need her in this race. So we are fired up for her, and we've had great speakers today. Let's give it up for our poet. Let's give it up for Kedron. And let's definitely keep Miss Hulon in our prayers and everyone impacted by what's going on today. But let's talk about why we're here, because we are in a government shutdown. And it's not been the first one. We've had many government shutdowns go on throughout history. But unfortunately, this one we're in is now the longest in history, because folks in Congress can't get their act together. And who does that hurt? It doesn't hurt Democrats like they want, right? It hurts Tennesseans. Rural, urban, it hurts us. It hurts folks like my mother-in-law, who is also a SNAP recipient. We all know folks who are on government assistance. It's not a handout. It is a hand up. It is a lifeline. But also, over 69,000 Tennesseans are set to lose their health care because, again, we can't get our act together. Food assistance from Williamson to Wayne County. Folks want someone like Afton Bain in Congress because we know that she's going to fight for her and not the special interests. We're going to fight for you and not the special interests. Because she's here to feed kids, not make kids suffer. She's here to fix the roads, not let you ride on potholes. And she's here to fund hospitals, not see them close. And it's folks like Representative Afton Bain is why I joined this campaign. Because when she called me and said, will you come and join, I immediately said yes. I've been boots on the ground with Afton Bain for the past 10 years. I've seen her work. I've seen her work in the legislature. When she was with Indivisible, I've seen her work. And she is a hard worker. She cares about the people. When I saw her, and we know the famous photo of her getting arrested at the legislature, right? I texted her that day and I said, you are my spirit animal. I know a real one when I see one, right? And Afton is a real one. And she's going to get the real work done in Congress because we're going to elect her on December 2nd. She's an organizer, a social worker, a state legislator who represents the 51st district here in Nashville. She is running a grassroots people-powered campaign because we believe in the people, not special interests. She wants to put people over politics. She does not accept corporate PAC money, okay, because she cannot be bought and sold. Afton Bain is running to make life more affordable for Tennessean families by increasing wages, decreasing costs, restoring healthcare access for over 600,000 Tennesseans, and rolling back policies that hurt working families and farmers. Now, for the woman that you all have been waiting for, the woman who brought us the famous phrase, beach, blonde, ballad, built, butch, body. You know her. Come on, baby girl. Yes. She is the Congresswoman from Texas's 30 congressional district, serving portions of Dallas and Tarrant counties since January of 2023. She is a civil rights attorney, former public offender, and a former Texas state representative. Let's stand on your feet, y'all. Give it up for Afton Bain and Jasmine Crockett.
well, thank you so much for being here as we work on the sound for Representative Crockett. I'm deeply honored to be here. Thank you so much for bearing with us. I know the weather and Representative Crockett not being able to be here, but I'm deeply honored to be the nominee. This is an important race, as you all know. The balance in Congress is there's no balance, I guess. And this is a moment in time that we have been building towards for 10 years. Many of you I've organized with since 2016, and it's taken that long for us to have a moment like this and a candidate like me, and I wouldn't be here without you all, truly. You have put me in your homes, you have fed me, you have showed up at the Capitol when I've told you to show up, you have bailed me out of, well, I wasn't necessarily bailed out, but you've showed up when I've gotten in trouble, and I've bailed you out. And it's such a moment in time where I'm so deeply honored and grateful. So, do we still have sound yet? We're still working on sound? Okay, can she hear us? All right. Okay, she can hear us, we can't hear you. So we're gonna keep on working. So we've got 25 days, and I'll talk a little bit about the race. As you all are able, we have canvases and phone banks almost every day, which has been incredible. I want to shout out the Tennessee Democratic Party, and if you are part of a county party chair or any part of the infrastructure, please raise your hand. Thank you for being here. So for the first time, all 95 county parties are reorganized, which is a testament to the organizing infrastructure. We're still working on it. And if you are part of the grassroots, raise your hand. If you've organized a protest at the Capitol, if you've attended a protest at the Capitol, raise your hand. All right. And thank you for being here. So we're going to keep, how's the sound going? Yeah, it's still kind of rough. All right, well, in that case, I might as well just give my speech now. I had a speech that I was going to give. Maybe I should do that right now, like get you guys hyped up for Representative Crockett. All right, let's see here. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right, well, this is going to be a town hall. I was I was everywhere yesterday, but Cheatham County, and they had organized a town hall for me, and I was really honored because in 2017, I used to be a menace at town halls. Who knows what the word bird dogging means? Yeah? Okay. Well, bird dogging is when you show up at a place where there's an elected official, and you have a camera and a phone, and you are recording them and asking them questions and getting them on record and then following them around and posting the video. And you all saw Justin Canoe, who runs the holler, excellent. Sorry, guys, we're trying to get it taken care of. Excellent video yesterday where he was actually in the airport following my opponent. And I was like, did you buy a ticket to get into the airport? I mean, what were you doing there? It was serendipitous. And so my opponent has said that he won't release the Epstein files. And so Justin Canoe followed him and got that on tape, and it was really impressive. But that's called bird dogging. And so when I used to bird dog town halls, I also committed as an elected official when I ran for my state race that I would hold town halls. And so I'm very proud to say that Senator Oliver and I have a lot of town halls. I had one almost every month last semester. It really means a lot because you all are democracy, right? And I believe in participatory democracy where you all are at the table and you're making decisions. And that's the problem right now is that in Washington, we have a group of the powerful that believe the rules don't apply to them, that they don't have to listen to you. They listen to their donors. They listen to the puppet masters of the universe, and they don't have to listen to us. And this is a race in which we get to decide, no, now's about time that you're going to listen to us, right? Now's the time. All right, I'm just going to be up here ad-libbing. Okay, great. I love that. All right, give me a mic. Give me a mic. So for those of you who don't know my personal story, So I grew up in East Tennessee, and I think what's been a theme in my career is corporate accountability. And the reason that I feel that way is because I grew up in Appalachia. Knoxville's at the foothills of Appalachia. And in high school, we would go out to the coal mining towns in East Tennessee, because there were places in East Tennessee where there was coal mine. And you witness firsthand the corporate negligence and degradation and exploitation of these communities, and the fact that they pulled out billions of tons of coal and left nothing in its wake. And it informed my politics. And so then I went to the University of Texas, which is the fake UT, I like to say. I'm grateful I went there, but it's the fake UT for those of you that went to University of Tennessee. I was lucky enough in graduate school to receive an internship to work at the UN in Switzerland. And so I went over in 2016 to Switzerland, and I arrived at the apex of the refugee crisis. And I remember walking into the building, and they had a number of the people who had capsized in the Mediterranean that year. And it was a moment where, I mean, the world, I mean, now it feels like it's falling apart, but it felt like it was falling apart then. And then in November of 2016, our president was elected for the first time. And unlike a lot of my colleagues, I decided to move back to Tennessee. And I remember taking my parents out to Aubrey's, if those of you from Knoxville. I took my parents out to eat, and I said, Mom, Dad, I think I'm going to come back to Tennessee, and I want to get involved in politics. And my mom was like, what? No, wait, what? No, that wasn't part of your, no, that was not part of your plan. That was not part of our plan, right? And a lot of you who are parents, you've sacrificed so much for your kids. And I said, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And lucky enough, Representative Gloria Johnson was the first person I met after I moved back. Yep, give it up. And she said, I told her, I'm like, where do I go? And it's like a lot of the frenetic energy we're seeing. She's like, well, there's a job opening at the Tennessee Justice Center. And I was like, okay, that sounds, I love justice, cool. And I ended up applying for it, and it was a community organizing job. And so what was really incredible is that I was out across the state organizing in these haulers, talking about the impacts of the Affordable Care Act cuts and Medicaid. And some of you also may remember, I did a little political theater back in the day. I used to dress up as a character that looked like Marie Antoinette. And I would troll Representative Diane Black, who at the time was chair of the House Finance Committee. And she lived in a 10,000 square foot chateau in Sumner County and proposed a budget that would cut SNAP, Pell Grants, Medicaid. And so I would show up to her events dressed as Marie Antoinette, my character Diane Antoinette, and troll her out in rural Tennessee. She hated to see me coming. She hated to see me coming. Thank you. Yes, thank you. And then I was lucky enough to work for Indivisible. And so for those of you who's part of Indivisible? All right, wonderful. And then I got the Indivisible job, and so I've been able to organize. And in 2019, a lot of us were at the legislature. I was the lead organizer for a campaign to force David Byrd to resign, who was a state legislator who had sexually assaulted underage girls. And during that campaign, boo. Thank you, Peanut Gal. I love it. And that was the year that a lot of us, the corruption was just simmering to the top. I mean, there was so much. A lot of us were arrested that session because it was just so bad. We actually slept on the floor of the Capitol one night, me and 3 of my friends, outside the governor's office to demand that he do something about this. And so when it comes to standing up for victims and making sure they receive justice, you couldn't have a better person. And then some of you may know, I'm sorry, I just keep, okay, all right, okay, sorry, I'm just ad-libbing here. And then in 2023, I like to say in January, I wanted to quit Tennessee politics, and I told people in Nashville, I was like, do not call me if there's a protest, I don't care, I don't want to hear you, I'm going to put my phone on silence for 6 months. And then the world kind of turned upside down, and for those of you who were part of the Tennessee 3 protests and rallies, raise your hand if you helped with those in yes, I know a lot of you are in here. Yep. And so I took a leave of absence for work for 2 weeks to help these folks and all of us organize 25 protesting rallies across the state to defend democracy. And I think that was the first time that the country really looked in and peered into our state and said, what is going on there? What is happening? How is it that two of our young, black, incredible legislators crossed an arbitrary line on the House floor and expelled 120,000 voters' voices? How did that happen?
Can you hear me?
How did that happen? And there was a moment that night, I helped plan the final press conference of the night, and we had MSNBC, we had CNN, we had Italian national TV streaming in. Don't know why they were there. And I just realized looking around, like, you know what? I deserve to be up here just as much as anyone else. And so I decided, yes, thank you. Yep.
She's out there. Testing.
So I decided to run for my state house race, and since in the legislature and for a lot of electeds, we're dealing with a lot right now. So, but I run for office because I need the seat to organize. I need a megaphone to do the organizing that I need to do to move the needle in the state, right? And it gives me more access and levers of power that I can figure out how to pull, which is why, as a legislator, I was able to file a lawsuit against the state of Tennessee to protect your First Amendment right to talk about issues that the Republican supermajority finds combative. And we won. We won in the conservative Sixth Circuit. We won. And it's a testament, thank you, yes. And it's a testament to, the movement attorneys that we have in the state that are in the background doing everything they can to litigate us out of this mess. But it's also a testament to the groups on the ground that have been doing this work for so long, right? And that the fact that that they're here and they're kicking. All right, are we almost there yet?
Someone please.
Representative Crockett!
Testing.
She still can't hear. We're trying, y'all. Thanks for bearing with us. She can hear us. Okay. Well, Representative Crockett, we've got a lot of people in the audience here for you, and just we really miss you. We're sorry you couldn't make it, but we're really, really grateful. I wonder if you can communicate in the chat, and then someone. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. How do we do this? Because I have some questions for you.
Tell her to talk for us again.
Yes. Oh, FaceTime. That's okay, Gen Zs. I hear you.
She's talking right now.
Can y'all hear me?
There's a. Oh! Yes. We can hear you.
All right, let's get this thing rolling. Tennessee, I can hear you. Because I can't see you.
So, Representative Crockett, go ahead and we'd love to introduce yourself.
Can you hear me? Okay, awesome. All right, so I am so sorry, but my job is kind of ghetto if y'all haven't noticed. So the government shutdown is truly taking hold. But let me tell you, if November 4th was a preview of things to come, I cannot wait to see what's going to happen in less than 30 days right there in Tennessee. So I want to be clear about something. Tennessee is special to me for a number of reasons. My mama grew up right down the street. She was raised in Memphis, Tennessee. And I went to undergrad right there at Rhodes College in Memphis. I spent many days on the road heading up to Nashville. I'm not going to tell y'all where all I was going in Nashville, but y'all got schools there. So just know I was hitting the road and I had my fair share of days there. I am so, so sad that I am not there in person. But let me tell you, right now, this isn't about those things that divide us. This is about everything that unites us. And I think that this district is so amazing in that it is not just a rural district. It is not just an urban district. It is both. It is both urban. It is both rural as well as suburban. And so this is when we get back to basics. And I think that that is what you have an opportunity to do. You have an opportunity to decide whether or not the basics, and when I say the basics, I'm talking about food. I'm talking about shelter. I'm talking about education. I'm talking about job opportunities. We need to get back to basics. And right now, it seems like the other side, as Afton was laying out so eloquently as she talked about her opponent, whose name shall remain nameless, because we don't want anybody to be confused when they go to the polls. But when you're talking about somebody that can't answer a question about a pedophile, we've sunken literally to the sunken place at this point, right? Like when you can't just say that a thing is a thing, right? When you can't just say, no, I won't support or protect pedophiles. And essentially, that is who the Republican Party has decided that they want to be, the modern day Republican Party. So let's talk about the things that matter most to you. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of what is currently taking place as relates to this record-setting shutdown. And hopefully we can get into a little bit more conversation in general and make sure that we get to the things that matter most to you. Because a lot of people are always waiting to figure out who that leader is going to be.
Yeah.
A lot of people are always trying to wait on a leader, trying to point to who that leader is going to be. Well, let me tell you what leadership looks like. It looks like acting. Because right now, I'm sure most of you cannot recall the last time that an elected leader, elected on the federal level, has decided that they would do something as simple as have a town hall, where they would actually decide to listen to the very people that put them into power. We have a lot of people that don't understand who it is that they work for. And so whether you identify as a Democrat, Republican, or independent, at the end of the day, when you hire somebody, you should at least feel good about knowing that that person is going to respond to you and your needs and not respond to the wants of a crybaby wannabe tyrant, okay? All right, so let me just talk about the government shutdown a little bit because I know that your representatives ain't trying to talk about it. A couple of things are going on. I wish I had the numbers specifically for Tennessee in front of me, but House Dems do have a page that you can access if you are curious to know kind of some of the general numbers about what the big ugly bill did. And that is on our House budget website. So if you Google Dem House budgets, there's a website that will come up, and it should have information that is instructive down to your district about how many people are going to lose health care. Okay, so ultimately we had the big ugly bill. The big ugly bill did a lot of ugly things, which is why we properly named it. But one of the things that it did is that people that are on Medicaid and Medicare, they are going to lose their health care to the tune of a total in this country of 15 to 17 million people will be kicked off of their Medicaid or Medicare. In addition to that, SNAP benefits actually got reduced under the big ugly bill as well. So right now, we know that over 40 million people in this country rely on SNAP benefits. And we only know that number as a collective we, because we know that we have an administration that has decided that it wants to ignore the law. There is a judge that said, you will pay out the emergency funds that are available for this specific thing. And now they are appealing it. The vice president specifically said, no, we don't want to do that because then the Democrats may not play ball. They think that this is all a game. They think that it's funny to play games with people that are relying on as little as $2 a meal or $6 a day to eat. The fact that people in this country need $6 a day to eat is a testament of how much work we haven't done in this country. It means that we should not have so many working poor people in this country, but we do because we refuse to do our jobs as elected representatives and say we are going to pass a raise to the minimum wage so that people aren't necessarily needing these benefits. But because those that are at the top of these corporations don't want to pay their workers a working wage, we then as taxpayers give them crumbs. And it is so sad because right now they have no qualms about giving $8 million a day to Elon Musk. If you ask me, that's next level welfare. But they have a whole issue with a family or a single mom or that senior getting their $6 a day to eat. Like, we need to talk about where the priorities lie. This isn't about political affiliation, to be perfectly honest. This is literally about morals and whether or not you got them. Like, that's it. And right now, it is clear that we have, I don't even know that really they should be allowed to be called Republican, because the Republican Party that I knew, as far as I'm concerned, it is gone. It is gone. The Republican Party of fiscal conservatism, it is out the window. The party that believed in states' rights, it is out the window as we see these troops that are coming into cities all around the country, as there was a threat to go into California and somehow decide to police their state elections, not federal election, their state election. Like, we have lost the plot of who the Republicans supposedly are, as we just hit over $38 trillion worth of debt, as we have someone who has decided that he wants to build a ballroom that is going to cost over $300 million that nobody asked for, as we have an administration that decided that they were going to send $40 billion to Argentina. At the same time, they didn't want the measly funds that we send to USAID that also supports our farmers. Because when we send money out, we actually spend that money here and we send the resulting resources. So what happens? Our farmers ended up losing a consumer being the federal government. And so now here it is, we're not doing the goodwill that hopefully keeps other countries from hating us. Something as small and kind as giving people food, or as small and kind as giving people life-saving medication. The Republicans decided that that was just too much. And here is the gag. We are talking about less than 1% of our budget was going to USAID. So, I mean, I want to make myself available. Again, I hate that I'm not there. One of my very good friends I know is there out in the audience, Miss Odessa, who started on this trek. We were actually running at the same time. She is a fierce warrior, and I am so happy that she is there. She was texting me and telling me everything y'all was doing. But I just want y'all to believe that you deserve better. And deserving better looks like talking to your friends and your coworkers and your colleagues and your family members and all those that don't want to vote. And you tell them if Mississippi could somehow break the supermajority, then Tennessee can flip a seat. You tell them if somehow in somewhere between 20 and 25 years, Georgia somehow elected not one, but 2 Democrats statewide. You tell them that there is nothing that Tennessee can't do. And I know that the gerrymandered lines are why so many people get to feeling down. But at the end of the day, again, if there's over 40 million people that are needing SNAP, let me tell you, there is a number of them, regardless of where you sit on the political spectrum, that share in that. And I know that you have farmers that are struggling, because right now we are experiencing record bankruptcy filings by our farmers. As somebody that served on the agriculture committee, I can tell you that I don't really care whether or not you have your own farm or if you just like to eat. We all need food. So we need to be looking out for our farmers. We never want to be so vulnerable that we have to import the vast majority of our food. That is a crisis for us. And I can tell you stories about countries that have found themselves in that type of crisis. So again, I am so grateful. I am so thankful. And I just want to make myself of service to each and every one of you for showing up today on a Friday morning. In numbers, I'm hearing. I can't see y'all. I can only see Afton. But in numbers, I'm hearing. And so, Afton, I will let you go ahead with your question.
Thank you.
Or question.
Give it up for Representative Crockett, y'all. You have so many fans in Tennessee. You have so many fans in Tennessee. We love you, and we're very grateful for all you do for us. I have 3 questions for you. So the first question is, when folks across the district and in Tennessee can't afford groceries or rent, it's not because they're bad with money. It's because the policies we have. So from your seat in Congress, how do you view the role of corporate power and the billionaire class in buying our democracy and our economy?
they've already bought it. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. I mean, when you look, and one of the reasons that we truly needed to end Citizens United, I mean, we know what happens. We know Elon put in more than $250 million to be able to get this seat, but that was a bargain. I just told you how much he gets from the federal government. He gets $8 million a day, right? And when you look at the fact that there are no checks, not only on this government, but on corporations, right? So as soon as Elon came in, Elon was nothing more than a hatchet job. Like that's all he was there for. He was there as a hack. And so what he did is, whether it was the independent investigations that were taking place, say, at the Department of Transportation as relates to him always crashing out. I mean, that literally and figuratively. This is a guy who has crashed his fair share of spaceships or rockets or whatever, and caused, great harm. And, he was actually supposed to be on a bit of a hiatus. And he was able to get rid of all of those inspector generals that were looking into and conducting investigation. We know that a number of other corporations were under investigation, whether it was for the way that they treated their workers or otherwise, and all of those investigations went away. And so they were able to save a lot of money. In addition to just kind of rolling back regulations in general, which is kind of now that is a very Republican thing. I will say that they don't believe in regulation. So I will say that they have stuck to the playbook on that one. But when you start to look at oil and gas, and listen, I'm a Texan, so I get it. We are big energy in Texas, all energy to be clear. We actually are the largest supplier of clean and dirty energy in the country. And so, but they don't want any types of regulations around that. We saw that when this administration rolled back at regulations, we had that big oil spill, or it wasn't oil, but it was the train that turned over, and ended up just harming. It was a toxic something that they were carrying. I don't remember at this time. And that was near Pennsylvania, Ohio border. So we know that they are benefiting by cutting corners. We know that right now, right, they have basically taken the FDA down to bare bones. The FDA makes sure that our food supply as well as our drug supply is safe. And we know that there's been mass recalls on vehicles. Like there's all kinds of things that are going on and are slipping. As I think the most recent thing, the vehicle thing is Department of Transportation. But the most recent thing from the FDA was there was another listeria breakout here recently. Again, being a Texan, we know that the monkeypox is back, and children literally started dying. That started again in Texas, right? We now are in this anti-vax world with the heroin addict that currently leads the Health and Human Services. And so now people are not even going to be able to easily access vaccines if they want them, simply because he's decided that he wants to be an anti-vaxxer, as the president continues to go and get all of his shots, right? So in so many ways, they are literally killing us. And I know that some may say that's a bit extreme to say, but it's not. We have this organization within the House. It's called the Congressional Budget Office. The Congressional Budget Office is supposed to kind of like tell us like what legislation would do. So it's like, oh, this will save X amount of dollars, or this will generate X amount of dollars, right? The very first time I've ever been in the legislature, and I'm sure Afton, y'all have something similar, not really sure what y'all call y'all's, but like we had something on the state level too. And that was where we would get the price tag on something, right? And so some people would decide whether or not they were going to vote for your bill based on the price tag. But when it came down to the big ugly bill, they were trying to estimate the number of deaths. I have never served in a legislative body where they were trying to estimate the deaths. And the Congressional Budget Office just threw out a random number, and it's like 50,000. Like, how do you estimate how many people are going to die? And why should you ever look at legislation and think about deaths? But this is a reality, whether it is hunger or whether it is healthcare. We know that those are the two main things in the big ugly bill that they decided to go ahead and redistribute wealth from those that are struggling every single day And it is the largest redistribution of wealth that we've ever seen in this country. And they redistributed it up to the top 1%ers and basically looked at the rest of us and said, pull yourselves up by your bootstraps.
Well, we know your time is super valuable, but I just wanted to ask one final question, and hopefully you can end with a pep talk for all of us, because we certainly needed to get through the next 25 days. But both of us come from places that people love to write off. The South, red states, and we know that they're not red, they lack investment. They lack investment, and we have some of the best organizers and activists in the country in this state and in Texas, and it's because the national landscape doesn't feel like we're worth investing in. What have you learned about building people power in places that pundits write off?
It's a great question. No one would ever expect that I would represent Texas. People are always shocked that that is where I represent. But I think that it is inspiring, because you never know how many amazing stars exist because we fail to really believe. I will tell you this. I was outspent when it came time to run for the state house. I was outspent 5-1. And the one thing that I couldn't be was outworked and out-manpowered. So we had over 300 volunteers for a state house race, and they made the difference. We worked really, really hard. We took out an incumbent, and it was the closest state house race in the entire state of Texas that year. We only won by 90 votes. If for some reason I had not won that race, I would not be sitting in Congress now. So I want you all to believe, just believe and do the work. That's it. Don't let somebody tell you who you are, show them who you are. We saw where polling said in New Jersey that it would only be 1 point. It was going to be within the margin of error. It was going to be really tight. It wasn't. It was a blowout. We saw in Virginia, where they currently have a Republican governor, we saw that they always thought that Abigail was going to win because, Earl, she a little different. But win some Earl, but she a little different. But even when it came down to Jay Jones, they were running these very negative ads because of a text message he'd allegedly sent at some point in time. And even Democrats were calling on him to just get out of the race because it was bad. Even with all the negativity, he won. This is about us. So stop. I think that what happens, I know, because I worked on the Harris campaign and I went all over the country on behalf of both the vice president as well as Joe Biden. So I was surrogate for both of them. And I will tell you that a lot of people tried to make the election about them as individuals. It's not. I kept telling people this isn't about whether or not Kamala wins. This is about whether or not you win. And right now, Kamala's doing just fine. She's traveling the country, selling books, living her best life. I just was with her just earlier this week. I mean, she's good. You know who's not good? Us. We're not good. We're the ones that aren't good, right? So I will give you these tips. As you go out and you talk to people, as soon as you start to say, let's talk politics, some people will immediately be turned off because it is one of those things, like you don't talk politics, you don't talk religion, like it's just one of those things, right? When you go out and talk to people, what you should be doing is you should be asking them about their lives, because politics is life. Whether we're talking about whether or not your road is paved, whether or not there is food for kids to eat at the school, whether or not they teach history, at real history, including Black history, at the school. Like it is everything that we do, whether or not the economy is good enough so that you can have a job, whether or not you are going to be in an economy that actually has wages that are a living wage. All these things are political, whether or not you can afford your housing. So I think what it is that, first of all, we've got to reconnect. I know everybody loves to be on social media, and I know I'm appearing virtually right now. But it is time to reconnect. I don't know if COVID did us more of a disservice or if it was social media in general. right? But people, like, it's easy to hate what you don't know. It is hard to sit in front of someone and hear them tell their story and just look at them and think, oh my gosh, I hate this person, as they're saying, I'm struggling. I'm working multiple jobs. I've got, multiple kids, and I need this itty bitty amount of support, whatever that support is for, whether it is that tax subsidy that we are fighting for as relates to the Affordable Care Act, or whether it is that Medicaid or that Medicare. As if I gave you an average of how many children in this country are born on Medicare, it is, I'd say in the country on average is close to 50%. It's high 40s. That's the average for the entire country. Now, when you start to get state to state, the further south you get, the higher the number goes. I'm just saying. So it's the same thing when we look at a state like Florida. Florida has more people enrolled in the Affordable Care Act than any other state. But can you guess what the elected representatives from Florida are trying to do? They're not trying to do right by the people your people are on the Affordable Care Act. Like, that's just what it is. So I think it is so difficult sometimes because we start off with saying, hey, are you voting? Or you need to go vote, or we beat people up. In fact, y'all are sitting in a church right now. So many times people say you can't beat religion into people. That is the same for politics. You can't, right? Like, you can't beat them in, but you can bring them in. That is for sure, by showing them why it's important and how it can better their lives. It's the same philosophy. So I say, number one, make sure that you start reconnecting. I don't know how many of you have even taken time as you're sitting in this church to even introduce yourself to the person sitting next to you. Every time I say that, people then start to turn and then be like, oh, okay. We've gotten out of connecting. So let's just get back to very basics of connecting with people. Let's make sure that we are asking people how they're doing. I just had to deal with the fact that one of our Dallas Cowboys, who is a baby, as far as I'm concerned, just scored his first ever touchdown and went home and killed himself. I need y'all to understand that people are craving human connection. And some believe that they're finding real connections by going deep, whether it's into the gaming world, because that's becoming a big thing, or whether it's in social media. But none of that is reality. So let's get back to connecting. Let's start asking people what it is that is making them stay up at night. And then let's connect that to their political decisions. So that way they will open up to you. And you can then educate them, because there's so much misinformation and disinformation out there. You want to make sure that people have the truth. And my final point is, there was a junior senator from Illinois who no one thought could be the president of the United States. They thought it was a joke. He was young. He had just gotten to the Senate. And frankly, he had lost his first election. This isn't the guy that was picked by anybody. But he was. He was picked by everybody. He was picked by the people. It is time for the people to take their power back. It is time to tell your friends and your neighbors and everyone else that if you don't like the fact that the cost of everything is high, directly because of one individual deciding to, say, levy illegal tariffs, or if you don't like that the flights are all out of whack, and that we've had a record number of air collisions already before the shutdown, if you don't like the fact that we have an administration that wants to say, you know what, I would rather starve people in my country. If you don't like that stuff, if you want an actual check, let me tell you, Afton is that check. I keep telling people that I need votes. People don't understand that healthcare premiums for the entire country are going through the roof right now, and it only passed by one vote. The big ugly bill, it was a one vote difference. If one more person, if one more Republican, if Marjorie Taylor Greene had realized what she was voting for when she did vote for it, because she did vote for it, if she would have flipped her vote, that would have made the difference in everyone's lives in this entire country. That is how much power you have. You have the power to change the entire country's lives with this one seat because our numbers are that close. Right now, they have a 3-seat majority. This would take them down to 2. I am asking you to believe in the power of you. It comes down to you. Afton will do her part. She will try to introduce herself to as many people as possible, and she will campaign. But at the end of the day, whether or not you pull up to the polls, whether or not you take 5 or 6 or 7 other people to the polls, whether or not you get into your group chats and you start telling people, hey, we have this special election. We don't want to be the ones that are embarrassing. We want to have a repeat of what we saw happen on November 4th. That relies on you. I know y'all can do it. I believe y'all can do it. I hate I couldn't be there to do it with you, but please give me a reason to show up in Tennessee and to celebrate the win.
All right, let's give it up for Representative Jasmine Crockett. Thank you so much, Representative Crockett. We're very grateful for you. We love you. Absolutely. And we're grateful for you. Thank you. I first want to start by thanking you all for coming today. Thank you to the Watson Grove Baptist Church for having us. Pastor and First Lady Faison, thank you, thank you, thank you. To the staff, Chester, I owe you my firstborn child. Thank you. And to my team, thank you, and for bearing with us for all the technical things. We're really grateful. I have one question. Are y'all ready to flip this seat? Are y'all ready to flip the table? And are y'all ready to flip Congress? This race is the beginning of something special. It is a moment where Tennesseans are coming together to say no more to the Billionaire Boys Club, no more to greedy corporations siphoning wealth from our communities, and no more unchecked state and federal power. For too long, families and workers across Tennessee have been told to stay quiet, work harder, and expect less. We've been gaslit by those in power who exclaim, "This is the best we can do. This is the best you're gonna get." Do you all think this is the best we can do? No. That's not who we are, and that's not how Tennesseans were raised and how we lived. We are the organizers that have organized countless marches and protests and vigils when our cities and communities were under attack. We are the workers that keep our potholes filled, keep our students well-read, and our cities and small towns working. We are the activists that speak truth to power when the powerful tell us to shut up and sit down. So don't tell me that power doesn't belong to us, because it has always belonged to us. We just have to reach out, and we're going to take it back. And that's what this race is about. It's not about left versus right. It's about who the government serves. Do we keep letting corporations and lobbyists take everything they can get? Or do we build a Tennessee that feeds kids, fixes roads, and funds hospitals? When I started organizing years ago, I wasn't thinking about running for Congress. You just heard my entire life story on this couch. I was a social worker out in the hollers of Houston and Humphreys counties raising awareness about TennCare cuts. I was an organizer screaming from the Tennessee House balcony at corruption, and became a legislator so that I could have a bigger megaphone to call for ending the grocery tax with Senator Charlene Oliver, and to sue the state of Tennessee to protect your First Amendment right. So I have seen what happens when politicians put profits over people. And I've decided that I've had enough. And this fight, this one right here, is about whether we deserve crumbs or a seat at the table. Whether the single mom in Dixon who's juggling 2 jobs can afford childcare, whether the veteran in Clarksville can get an appointment at the VA without driving 2 hours to the hospital in Nashville, whether the nurse in Decatur can keep her rural hospital open. Everywhere I go, I hear the same thing. Afton, life just isn't affordable anymore. I can't afford to live. And they're right. The cost of living is crushing us while corporations post record profits, and they're all taking their cuts, and our communities are being left behind. But here's the good news. Tennessee's had enough. We've been called a long shot, but I tell you what, Tennessee loves a long shot, right? And we've got something that the billionaires don't. We've got each other. We've got each other. So this afternoon, I'm asking you to dig deep the next 25 days. Knock one more door. Go up to that person at the gas station and say, hey, did you know there's an election? December 2nd? Early voting starts November 12th? Great. Make one more call. Talk to the young person who doesn't think their vote matters, because this one, it does. Because if we all move together, there's not one super PAC, one billionaire in this country that can stop us. And I've seen what happens when we organize. I've seen what happens when we refuse to give up on each other. We can turn this safe red seat into the most competitive seat in the United States of America. And on December 2nd, we're gonna finish the job. So let's get loud. We are done being written off. We are done being priced out. And we are done waiting for someone else to fix what's broken. This state belongs to us. The state belongs to the people who love it enough to fight for it, to fight for their neighbor, and that's us. So let's go out and let's win this thing. And with that, I'd like to, are we? Oh, okay. All right. And with that, we're going to go to Q&A. Does someone have a question? All right.
Hello, Miss Bain.
Hi.
Let me see. What are you going to do about the arts funding and the pedophiles that are trying to ruin it?
Yeah, so unfortunately, right now at the federal level, we've just seen an incredible onslaught of funding being cut across all of our industries, all sectors. And so my goal is to be your next congresswoman, to go back and reverse the cuts in the big ugly bill to all this funding, and to work with the attorneys on the ground and at the federal level that are litigating to try and bring back this funding to Tennessee. All right. Who else? All right, Mandy? Hi.
Thank you so much. My name is Beta, and I serve as a Tennessee Young Democrat. To young women in the state who are trying to get involved but are really being discouraged by everything happening at the state and federal level, what words of encouragement do you have for us?
Yeah, I mean, I came on the heels of lots of women who are here today, and if you run for office and or are an elected female sitting in office, please raise your hand. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I think for me, as a young woman in politics, I was always left out of the room, right? And so I've had to claw my way and elbow my way into the table, and my goal and my legacy in this state is to ensure that you all are at the table and that those spaces look like people like you.
Hello.
Oh, we have Representative Crockett back on for a question. Okay, great.
Oh, no, that
Yes.
was me over here.
Oh, okay, hi. Is it your question for me or Representative Crockett?
For both of you,
Okay.
actually. So my name is Alicia Lane. I go by AC. I am the president of the Graduate Student Council at Vanderbilt University. We've had 2 rallies about the compact in the last month. Every single governing body on our campus has passed a resolution against the compact. What advice would you have sitting in your purview for us students that are trying to fight for our trans brothers and sisters, our international students, and actually really get a livable wage on our campus?
Yeah, I can start with that, but I'm curious, Representative Crockett, what your experience is.
Can you repeat it really quickly?
Yes, I can repeat the question.
Like a summary?
Yes, so she is in charge of the graduate students at Vanderbilt who are trying to organize against what's happening. And I just want to say thank you. I know in my, as a state representative, I have been emailed by multiple professors across the state that are, being fired against their, for their First Amendment rights being violated. And so this is a moment in time where my antidote is organizing. You all have you all have the opportunity to organize statewide in a way where everyone is affected and to build your bigger base of power. And so spend these years, right, which are, bad now, they could get worse, organizing, contacting every single person you know at these universities and building your bigger we, because that's the we that's going to be able to fight at the state legislature and federal levels and to push the Board of Regents. Yes. Representative Crockett?
I am not quite up to speed, but I do want to say that I did not realize that Dr. Michael Eric Dyson is also there.
Yes.
So mad love to him. He is my big brother and is always checking on me. As it relates to free speech in general, because I'm guessing this is where we're going. I'm guessing there have been maybe students that have had to endure some negative things because they've decided to exercise their free speech.
Representative
Right?
Crockett, it's about the compact the Trump administration forced on universities, if you have any thoughts on that.
Listen, okay, so I'm mad about that thing. Okay, all right. So now I'm like, I don't know where we're going. There's a lot of stuff going on campuses. So here's the deal. I agree with Afton in that, okay, I'm gonna take it back a little bit because I think that this can apply to everybody that is sitting there. The only way that we lose our democracy is if we cede it. We have to resist. And so we've seen this with the universities. We've seen that there are universities that have decided to roll over. We saw this with the law firms. We've seen it with the TV stations and the overall news outlets that have decided that every time they got pushed, that they would not push back. But what we need to do is collectively push back. And so it may take some radical things, right? I mean, typically to get somebody's attention, it may be considered radical, whether that is unenrolling and going somewhere else. I know that sounds like a lot, but we have to make sure when you look at what happened with Jimmy Kimmel, it was money that spoke, right? And essentially what they're saying is like, we can't afford not to get the money. But let me tell you something, a lot of our schools are about to lose the money anyway. So what they should do is make it to where it looks like it's a safe haven so that people actually want to attend their institutions. The reason that I say that they're losing money is because they've cut so much of the research funding. I did not talk about that earlier, but in cutting dollars, again, to make sure that the one percenters can have everything that they want and need and not and more, so that Jeff Bezos can have his third wedding for $65 million or more. What they have decided to do is cut a lot of the research dollars that are going to our institutions. So many of our institutions are already bleeding because they now don't have those dollars. And we as individuals are also bleeding because now we're not getting the research so that we can stay on top of any and everything that is science. So I do think that it is important. So I don't know what the student looks like. So I'm not really sure, but like when I was in school, we had the Black Student Association, we had our student government, we had our Asian Association, we had our sororities, whether it was Chi Omega or Delta Sigma Theta, like we had all of those things. Tap into some organization that you already have a natural kind of inclusion in, and then look for where those organizations exist on other campuses. And you guys unite. You already have like a built-in organization structure so that you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel, but that's where I would start.
All right, thank you, Rep. Crockett. All right, we've got time for 2 more questions. Yes.
Oh, okay. Hi. So my question is, what are we going to do for those that are going to suffer as a result of this bill? Is this big, ugly bill reversible in the time frame in which to keep people from dying in the streets? Because that's kind of how I see it, unfortunately. I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
So what do we do in the meantime?
Yeah. I mean, people are already dying in Tennessee. I mean, they are dying. I just heard of a young mom who didn't make it to a hospital with maternity care because the nearest hospital is 4 hours away. People are already dying, and things are going to get a lot worse. And that's why this moment in time, and this race in particular, this race, and I don't say this lightly, is a matter of life or death for our families who receive TennCare, for Social Security for people who receive $500 a month in SSDI benefits. It is a matter of life and death. And I think the power right now is in this race. And when we flip it, we will have the seat, a congressional seat, to be able to organize on a mass scale. And that's where you all come in. In order to maintain the seat, when we flip it, I need all of you, right? Because people are going to be being kicked off their benefits. The world is going to get really messy really quick. It already is. And there's only so much, mitigation we'll be able to do with the big ugly bill. But Representative Crockett, I'm curious. So the question was, people are going to die because of the big ugly bill. How much of it can be reversed? And how do we move forward knowing that, these next few months and the next few years are a matter of life and death for people?
Yeah, so one of the reasons that we are currently in the shutdown is because this is the only leverage that we have in this moment. Right now, the Democrats are not in control of the House, the Senate, nor of the White House. But because there is a 60-vote threshold, in order to pass the continuing resolution, because we've not done our 12 appropriation bills, this is the opportunity to say, hey, if you want to get Democrats on, then give us this or that, right? So that is some of what we're trying to work on. It is my understanding, I know y'all have seen me looking down. My legislative director was telling me that Schumer was headed to the floor with a bill potentially to end the shutdown. And so they've got to, I don't know what all is in this because I'm not on the Senate side, but this is our only point of leverage. When it came down to the big ugly bill, the filibuster was a non-issue because for reconciliation, it doesn't come into play. And so they only needed a simple majority, both in the House and the Senate. It's always a simple majority in the House. And again, it barely passed the House. So a couple of things that we're going to have to do is, number one, we're going to have to get very creative about making sure that as people are trying to figure out where is it that I donate my money, we donate that money to the community health center organizations. It's going to be really important to do things like, so we still have what they used to call PORC, and then it was called earmarks. Now we call it community project funding. It is really important that you have someone that cares, like Afton, potentially sitting in the seat, because when we finally do go through the appropriations process, we get an opportunity to pick 15 kind of programs or organizations or whatever that we want to give money to. And that is when we direct money almost like, this is mine and I'm bringing it over here. It's not as kind of convoluted as some of the other things. And so it's the easiest way to make sure that we can get creative in supporting those that are the backbone for what we're going through. Final point that I'll make, especially when we start to talk about healthcare and we start to think about rural America, as somebody who lived in East Texas, I know about how, like, literally losing the paper plant or the chicken plant or the tire plant may impact the entire economy and make everything shut down. Or like right now, what we know, pulling all of this money out, and most of the brunt of what we're going to feel from the big ugly bill is actually timed to take place after the midterm. That's when you're really gonna feel it. Right now, this is actually nothing. Like, they were surprised because you weren't supposed to actually feel the brunt of it just yet, so that they could hopefully survive the midterms. But it is going to be important for those community project funding that we do those things, and if there's an opportunity still to implement some money around our infrastructure bill as relates to things such as broadband. We know that telehealth, so getting really creative about those opportunities as well. But you need somebody who's going to be in that seat that's going to say, I'm going to support this cause or that cause. And usually I tell people not to submit to me if they need more than $5 million. Some of these organizations, $5 million will change everything that they can do because they're always used to working with less, right? So those are some of the things that we can think of. And then once we get back in control, we've got to flip things around. I just don't know that we can do that while he's still in office.
All right, we'll give it up for Representative Jasmine Crockett. Thank you, Representative. Once again, we're very thankful, and thank you for hosting a town hall with us. This is democracy at its best when you have a federal representative streaming in from your, it looks like your shoe closet.
It is.
Kind of love it. I wish one day. All right, well, thank you so much. And with that, we're going to call up Pastor Faison, the pastor of Watson Grove. All right, close us out.
Good afternoon. I want to first say thank you. Thank you to all of our staff and our volunteers from Watson Grove that have been serving since early this morning and even this week and a bit of last week, preparing to be able to host and practice what we call extravagant generosity and hospitality for you. So would you help me thank them? To our executive pastor, Pastor James Dennis, my executive assistant, Deacon Mitzi Spring. They led an amazing team of folks who are helping us get here, and so I'm grateful for them. Also, special shout out to MNPD for keeping us safe today, making sure that things were in order. We're grateful for you. And I also want to say thank you for showing up today. Many of you brought donations for our food pantry. Even before SNAP benefits were in a concern, our food pantry gives away some 200 to 300 pounds of food every single week. We've seen an increase and an uptick in that, and folks are not just coming from our community, but they're also coming from different parts of the city, different parts of various other counties. So thank you for helping us to do that. That's what we're about. We believe in being the hands and the feet of Jesus, not just talking about it, but being about it. And that's part of who we are and what we do. So thank you for helping us to fight food insecurity in Edge Hill and beyond. I want to remind you, of course, we got an election happening. In case you forgot, special election, the date is December 2nd, but early voting. Everybody say early voting. Early voting. Early voting begins on November 12th and runs through November 26th. Early voting, November 12th through November 26th. And the special election, the election day, is December 2nd. There are folks counting on you not showing up. So please, ma'am, please, sir, make sure that your voice is heard. I want to say this for our congregation, and as the pastor of the Grove, I'm honored to be the senior pastor here. We as a congregation do not, and I want to say this clearly, we do not endorse candidates, neither do we endorse individuals, but what we do is we address issues. We address issues, and this is a town hall concerning issues that are impacting our congregation and our community, and we take serious convening those spaces where dialogue can take place. Issues require dialogue. Everybody say dialogue. Here's the thing about dialogue, though. Dialogue has become dangerous, and I want you to know how dangerous dialogue has become. Dialogue has become so dangerous that there are many of our political officials who refuse to do it. They won't host town hall meetings. They won't have conversations with their constituency. They won't engage in conversation because either they don't have the answers or they don't care to hear the problem. So we have an issue with dialogue becoming dangerous. Dialogue has been dangerous in the last 24 hours because last night, our team was wrapping up preparation for today, and we had two individuals on our church campus who faked being security for Representative Jasmine Crockett and wanted to do a sweep of the building. And because of the wisdom and the wit and the quick thinking of our staff and their connection to security, that those persons did not get in. Last night, dialogue is becoming dangerous. Last night, there were drones flying over the building, flying over the church. And when MNPD showed up to respond to that, cars sped out of the parking lot trying to get away, all because we wanted to have dialogue. Dialogue's becoming dangerous. But when it gets dangerous, you got to keep talking. You got to keep having the discussion. You got to keep having the conversation. You got to keep talking. Because dialogue leads to direction. And when we figure out what goals we have in common, the places we want to go, direction then leads to decisions. And friends, we have some decisions that we have to make. So please, ma'am, please, sir, make sure that your voice is heard and that we make the right decisions. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate your presence. We've been an honor to host you. We pray that you have experienced and felt hospitality and generosity today. And we're praying for your safe travel as you head to your next place. God bless you.